Hey, what's up you guys? This is Rob from Gay Guy Plays, and today on the Quick Draw, we're shooting off with our boys at the parent sequence when we take a look at the Secura Dual Cestra. Now, the classic Dual Cestra were never really my favorite. While the styling was pretty neat, I've never been a fan of high fire rate, low damage weapons. In addition, the Cestra series was projectile based, had the worst recoil, and ran out of ammo way too quickly. They were basically Minutemen with really bad technique. And let's face it, it's tough to fall in love with those. So the question here is, has the sequence given us anything to fall in love with? Now you can pick up the Secura Dual Cestra for 100,000 standing, but only after you reach rank 5 with the parent sequence. However, regardless of faction, if you're good at working the markets, Trade Chat is another avenue for its acquisition. Now, the Secura's primary damage type is Puncture with a very small amount of impact and absolutely zero slashing. This makes it excellent at taking on the Grineer, but will suffer resistance when it comes to Corpus Shielding. So as always, be sure to toss on the proper elemental combos in order to take advantage of each faction's elemental weaknesses. Now, due to the fact that a lot of the issues that I had with the classic Dual Cestra were mainly mechanical, I decided to do some side-by-side comparisons to see if maybe they've improved the recoil, projectile speed, wind-up time, or anything that couldn't be measured on paper. But alas, nothing that I had hated has really changed. In fact, the only improvements made was an additional 5 points in base damage and a 2.5% increase in status chance and crit chance, which honestly doesn't change the way it plays very much. See, on paper, while the stats look halfway decent, its mechanics are really where the Dual Cestra and now the Secura version suffer. Due to its high fire rate and low base damage, it's gonna eat through ammo. The fluctuation in fire rate during its wind-up, its heavy recoil, and the fact that it's a projectile weapon can make it a bit difficult when attempting to hit targets at longer distances. And the painful 3.5 second reload is still the bottom of the barrel when it comes to secondary reload times. However, it does innately inherit the sequence effect. After a weapon with sequence gains 2000 affinity, it will restore 25% of your max shields and add a bonus 50% of your Warframe's base shielding on top of your current max, for approximately 30 seconds. In addition, you will also deal 1000 points of radiation damage in an area of effect, as well as force its status, damaging and confusing enemies within a 25-meter radius. So a shield buff, a little extra damage, and some CC does seem to be a halfway decent silver lining, right? Now, speaking of silver linings, can we talk? Okay, so I know that there's a good amount of people that really enjoyed using the Cestra, and while it wasn't particularly my favorite, I do have to give it credit where credit is due. See, I'm very focused on finding the Mr. Right when it comes to weapons, but let's look at the silver lining and celebrate Mr. Right Nows. See, Mr. Right Now is a looker. He looks sexy by your side, and while you're not exactly excited to reach for him all the time, it's better than not having something. On that note, Mr. Right Now is also here, now, so that's convenient, and why not use him until you've drained him dry? Of mastery points in this case. See, the greatest part of any Mr. Right Nows is the fact that you know it's going to end. You're gonna get rid of him and you won't have to deal with his ass anymore. So fuck to your heart's content, fully knowing that much like the Securas, he's replaceable. Alrighty, let's get back to the quick draw. So all in all, while this is an upgrade to the Dual Cestra, it's not much. Other than the minuscule change in stats, the added dash polarity, and the sequence effect, there isn't too much to be excited for, unless you were a big fan of the Dual Cestra to begin with. In that case, Mr. Right Now just gained an extra 2 inches, in all the right places. However, for those of us that weren't impressed in the first place, this might just be something to grind out and score some extra points with. But, regardless of your stance, there's no doubt the Secura Dual Cestra, regardless of how sloppy, definitely knows how to unload. So thank you all for watching another episode of The Quick Draw. Be sure to catch the previous episode I did on both the Gamma Cores, as well as my Quick Draw on the Redeemer. Now, don't forget to do the thing that I ask you to do at the end of every one of these, and as always, be sure to stay tuned for more sloppy unloading here at A Gay Guy Plays. Now, I know you've been wanting your rundown updated, and we'll get to it after they finish quote-unquote rebalancing you. So around 2016, I'm guessing? You know, once update 30 hits, I'm sure of it.